Tony Joe White style. Howdy folks, Bluesboyjag here, getting funky. Tony Joe White style, 3-string cigar box guitar lesson. We're just kind of doing some bluesy, funky, greasy stuff. I'm tuned to open G on this one, A string down to G, and a D string tuned normal to D, and a G string tuned normal to G. I've had a few requests for Tony Joe White over the past couple of months, and I thought, well, now's a good time to go ahead and maybe see if we can knock that one out. We're kind of on the same page as far as the way he plays and as far as the way I play, but he's just got that sort of greasy, bluesy, country, all three crammed together in a box, if that makes any sense. So I picked up my guitar and I was just thinking funky and bluesy and kind of country, all three in one. So this is what I came up with. Because we're tuned to open G, I'm using the middle string and I'm moving that one up and down, and the outside two are G. So really it's just two notes. So if I do something like this, for instance, I'm using my first and second finger and my thumb over here. Thumb is on the big string and my first finger is on the second string and my second finger is on the first string. And if I want it to be bright, I'll use my nail to strum. And I'm going to be doing some slide ups. And I'm going to do some of these, some of those 2-string chords, 2-finger 2-string. So let's start out here on the 12th fret. I've got the 3rd string open and the 1st string open, not fretting those at all. But I am fretting my 3rd finger on the 2nd string, 12th fret. I'm going to go down 2 frets. Outside 2 strings are open, except for that one. So I'm going to be toggling between 12 and 10 on all 3 strings and just kind of randomly jumping around. So for instance, that note is my 1st finger on the 10th fret, and then my 3rd finger is going to be 12th fret, 2nd string. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notes so far that I'm going to be messing around with, just kind of randomly jumping around and doing some boogie stuff. Now, if you want a nice big fat sound, I always recommend having that G string open, the 3rd string. Gives you a fatter tone because you have a nice low G. So right now, I'm just going to be playing on 10 and 12. 1st finger is on 10. Any of those strings, the 1st finger gets it, and on the 12th fret, the 3rd finger gets any of those on the 12th fret. And I'm not going to play solo, I'm just going to kind of get funky, and I'm going to move the camera up a little bit closer. Remember, first finger's on the second string, second finger's on the first. That's my home base for this kind of a thing. Thumb's on the third string. Now, this allows me to chop every chord with that hand. So I'm not strumming, although I could do that as well, but I'm using my fingers, so I'm chopping off all these notes as soon as I play them, because I'm using this hand to mute them. That's muting after you can hear the note. That makes it funky. Now I'm moving down here to the 3rd fret with my first finger, and my 3rd finger is on the 5th fret. So I'm just going to take that middle string for a minute and jump around. I'm going to do this type of thing, which I showed you a minute ago, with the right hand. And maybe you can see both of it. All that choking is what makes it funky. I'm only using my 1st and 2nd fingers here. 3rd finger just does nothing, and pinky anchors on the guitar. And the thumb is also plucking. All right, so I'm going to slow it down just a little bit. This is totally a random jam here. It's not a song, and it's not a riff. All I'm doing is jumping between these 3 strings, and I'm playing the top 2 strings with these 2 fingers at the same time, for the most part. Then I might jump to the 2nd and 3rd string and play those 2 at the same time. So here's the 1st and 2nd string plucked with the 1st and 2nd finger. Here is the 2nd and 3rd. Sometimes I'll do the outside 2 strings. So I'm just moving between the different strings, and I'm using the 5th fret and the 3rd fret pretty much exclusively, except when I go up here, 10th and 12th. So, back to the 12th fret, well, sort of 12th fret. I'm on my 10th fret and 12th fret. And the cool thing about these guitars is I can jump to that open G right there. It kind of brings the notes down. So what I'm doing here is all 3 strings with this hand, and I've got my 1st finger on the 2nd string, and I moved it down to the 9th fret, and then 10th, and then 12th. So I'm playing all 3 strings. The outside 2 strings are open. The 2 G's are open. And I'm basically fretting with the 1st finger on the 2nd string, 9th fret, and then the 10th fret, and then the 12th fret with my pinky. Now you can jump down to the bottom here, and that's your open G tuning and your open G chord. So I'm jumping around up here, plucking all 3 strings, and sometimes just 2 at a time, like this, or this. This is the 1st and 2nd, and the 2nd and 3rd. And I'm randomly going between the 2nd and the 3rd, or the 1st and the 2nd, and I'm randomly moving this hand around. Doing a lot of choking with this hand. So instead of jumping around and playing a lot of different notes, that just shows you what I'm doing and where my fingers are and the actual technique that I'm playing. But I'm going to start playing fewer notes and fewer chords. I'm just moving first finger on the second string from the second fret to the third, but I'm playing all three, plucking all three. So the outside two strings are both G. Now I'm playing just the top two strings, first and second. Plucking just two strings, thumb, middle string, and first finger on the first. So I'm using all three notes, but I'm jumping around between using those notes. I'm not doing the same thing over and over, using the same notes over and over. I'm constantly moving to something else. And this right here is a real important thing to be able to do. Use your pinky to anchor. Again, my third finger is kind of an anchor as well. I'm not really picking with that one. Just my first, second, and thumb. And this is all over my lessons. It's just the way I like to be funky, you know what I mean? Sliding up middle string from 3 to 5, plucking all three strings though. There's a super duper close-up of my right picking hand. I don't have a left picking hand because I can't pick with my left hand. Now I can't play a whole lot when I'm holding the guitar up like that because I can't fret. So I'm going to go down here and do some fretting stuff. Now you know what I'm doing up here on this end of the guitar. Thumb's on the third string, first finger is on the second, second finger is on the third. Now is where we get funky. All I'm doing is sliding up with one finger on one string, middle string from 3 to 5. Then I'm moving my first finger over to that same fret, third fret, first string. You can also slide into it, playing all three strings, because I'm plucking all three, but I'm only fretting the first one, or the second one, or the third one. But I'm plucking all three. Not all the time, but often I'm jumping back and forth between that. Backward slide. And I'm playing all three strings. How about sliding back the middle string? First finger is on the first string, 7th fret. Second finger is on the second string, 8th fret. And the third string is open. That is a really cool chord. Not even sure what that is. Let's try this. Do this chord up here. First finger is on 1-7, second finger is on 2-8. Plucking all three strings. This one's open. I like to do this a lot too. I have the third string open this whole time, and I'm playing around with the first and second strings only. Plucking all three with that drone bass. Well, not really a drone. I'm playing those notes all at the same time. And that's some greasy, bluesy, funky country stuff. Playing all three strings, or plucking all three strings. Two of them are open. I'm only fretting the first one. Now let's do it backwards. Instead of the upper G fretted on the 10th fret, I'm going to do the lower G fretted on the 10th fret. Middle string is open. Now how about both of them? I do that all the time. Outside two strings are sliding. Middle string is open. I like to use my second and third fingers. Of course, you can use your first and second like this. It's a little bit weird, but hey, whatever works. No rules, right? So this hand is muting, which makes it funky. You can practically pick any random notes, or two or three, and come up with a riff. Now I'm just going to go hog wild here for about 30 seconds. Now I'm going to kind of bring it down a little bit, do more simplified stuff. Not so much jumping around. What I'm doing is sliding first finger, first string, sliding from the second fret to the third. And the middle string is open. I'm just plucking the top two. And then, of course, I'm going to add that third string at some point. Here's a really good chord. I think I mentioned this earlier. First finger, third string, second fret. Other two open. Both of these are G's. And what is that middle string? Well, that's a D, and that's an E, so that's an F. So what I do, play that note right there, first finger, second string on the third fret, and I'm using my third finger 2 frets up on the same string. It looks like I'm fretting all 4 fingers, but I'm not. I'm only pressing down the first and the third finger. And I take my third off and toggle it and go back and forth. But the cool part is sliding up. I'm only fretting that middle string, remember, second fret, sliding up to 3. But I'm plucking all 3 at the same time. Then I'm using my third finger on the 5th fret, middle string. Okay, one more thing. This is obviously the bass note, third string, G. But what I'm going to do is bar across that 5th fret on the 1st and 2nd strings, but the bass note, which is G, is open. And I'm using 2 fingers to press down. That's just sort of how I do it. My 3rd finger's on top of my 2nd finger's on top of my 3rd finger, pressing the top 2 strings on the 5th fret. And my 1st finger is going to be on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. So you can kind of mess around between those 3 fingerings. But you get the idea. There's just a whole lot of funkiness there, and I hope that wets your whistle. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and check out my new web store. Well, it's about a year old now, but I've been selling these online for 21 years. And that's the new website, bluesboyjag.com. And we'll see you next time.